The first thing you will need to do is measure the distance across the front of your cabinet. Then measure the depth. Then cut your pieces. Try to make sure that you have a full scallop along the front ends. Also cut pieces to be the support pieces that you will attach to the underside of the cabinet. I always find it helpful to find an inspiration piece that I will be using to style the area and choose colors from it. For this project, I found this soft yellow and sage green fall pick and a cream sunflower garland. I love this varathane wood stain called aged wheat. For the stain scalloped, I'm going to embellish it with half wood circles. Simply glue the half wood circles along the top edge of the scallop with E6000 adhesive. Now that the paint is dry, let's try a couple of different ways to embellish. First, drawing from the soft yellow in my inspiration pieces, I painted small wood leaves in folk art acrylic paint called Daybreak. Then I figured out a design with the leaves and glued them on with E6000 glue. The next option is finding some pressed fall flowers and greenery. I found mine on Amazon. Then I set up a pretty design and glued them on with Siafixed instant adhesive in medium viscosity. Once everything is dry, it is time to attach the wood supports. Apply a thin line of Siafixed instant adhesive along the edge of the support and glue it at a right angle along the top. I found these sticky dots at the dollar store, but you can find them online too. I attached them to the supports and adhered them to the bottom of the cabinet. Now let's look at all the different versions. I like how each one has its own personality. This was such a fun and easy project, and I think my cabinet looks so much more interesting.
Grab a crystal or plastic bowl from the thrift or dollar store. We used 2 empty round mint containers and attached them to each other with hot glue. Spray the base to cover and let dry. To upgrade the bowl, use frosted glass spray and give it a few coats. Use a battery-operated puck light and attach it to the inside of the bowl. Use hot glue or double-stick tape to attach the base to the outside of the bowl. To install your light, use command tape and easily light up any dark corner in your home.
I took this builder-grade cabinet from plain to custom. The first step was to measure the width of my cabinet door opening with the slides in place. Then I cut down the 1x8 to the width and depth that I needed for my cabinet. I put these together into a box shape using just some L brackets. It was really quick and easy to do. Once I had the box built, I ended up taking a piece of plywood and marking it, cutting it, and adding it to the bottom. This way I had a fully formed box. After that, I removed the cabinet door and got rid of the hinges and hardware that were there. I attached my drawer slides, making sure that they would be able to slide in and out of the cabinet door easily. Then I attached the other piece of the drawer slide to the box itself. The next step was to place the box onto the slides and make sure that everything was moving smoothly. Once that was all in place, I took more L brackets and added them to the box so that then I could attach the door. Once the door was added and secure, it was time to add the handle. I created some pilot holes and then added my handle at the top of the door. Now I could pull the cabinet open using this top handle, and I could add a trash can inside the bin that I had created. This way I took just a simple cabinet and I modified it so that it's now a pull-out trash bin. I love how easy and inexpensive it was to customize this cabinet and make it much more functional.
Want to elevate your decorating? Start with 8 furniture legs from Home Depot for this easy and gorgeous idea. I'm using pliers to remove all the leg hardware by clamping down on the bolts, then twisting the legs until they come loose. Landing 2 old cabinet doors in the same style but in 2 different sizes, I'm placing the small door under the large one, then positioning 2 legs on both sides to ensure the smaller door fits within the legs. Now I'm flipping the doors good side down and removing any obstacles such as felt bumpers. Next, I'm cleaning the doors with Fusion's TSP Alternative. I love this cleaner since it's non-toxic and doesn't require rinsing. Since these doors are painted MDF, I'm scuff sanding the original finish to prepare them for repainting. Since the doors used to have handles, I'm scraping over the holes to smooth them out, then filling them in with wood filler. After it dries in about 15 minutes, I'm sanding over any filler. Now I'm marking out the placement for all the legs. With the doors facing good side down, I'm stacking them with the smaller door on top of the larger. I'm positioning the long legs on the large door in all 4 corners. Now I'm drilling holes through all the leg center marks, making sure the chosen drill is slightly larger than the screws I plan to use. Since drilling chipped the door finish a little, I'm using some wood putty to fill it back in, then sanding it once dry. After dusting off the doors, I'm selecting a warm white paint called Raw Silk by Fusion Mineral Paint. I'm painting both doors in the same color, starting with the indented areas first, then all the flat areas. I'm ending the painting in long, even end-to-end strokes without stopping to help avoid brush strokes. After the paint dries, I'm choosing a stencil called Café by Funky Junk's Old Sign Stencils to add some interesting detail to the doors, which I'll be stenciling in Fusion's Coal Black. Loading a dome-tipped stencil brush with paint, I'm removing most of the paint until the brush feels dry to the touch. This step is important to avoid any paint bleed. Now I'm tapping the paint through the stencil by moving the brush in all open areas first, then going over the area again in swirling motions to smooth out the finish. To coordinate, I'm choosing to stencil a coffee cup and checkered border in the middle of the small door. Placing some masking tape on the stencil where I wish to stop the stencil helps to avoid any mistakes. Once the paint is dry, I'm now installing the legs. I'm selecting a screw that is long enough to sit inside the hole of the legs while still clearing the door thickness. To prep the legs for easier screwing, I'm drilling a hole into each leg using a drill bit smaller than my screws. From the top of the door, I'm slipping in a screw and lining it up to a leg placed underneath the door. Using short controlled bursts with a cordless drill, I'm holding the leg in place while screwing the leg to the door until it's tight. The screws on top can be painted, or wood shapes or plugs can be painted, then hot glued into place if desired. However, I decided to leave the screws exposed since they married the graphics. And the end result are 2 adorable door risers that will elevate any of your home decor you wish to display. The coordinating black graphics against the warm white doors really pops, while keeping the overall look super neutral and easy to work with. And the woodsy toned legs add some rustic warmth that marry my wood kitchen cabinets and wood floors really well.